August 480 BC. The pass of Thermopylae. The sun beats down on a narrow strip of land between the cliffs and the Aegean Sea. On one side, King Leonidas of Sparta holds a position with just 7,000 Greeks, including his famous 300 warriors. On the other hand, the vast Persian army of King Xerxes, numbering over 100,000 men, stretches beyond the horizon. The Spartans tighten their shields. Arrows blot out the sky. Trumpets echo through the valley. And then, the ground shakes. From behind the Greek lines, a thunderous roar erupts. Not the march of men, but the growl of a 70-ton machine. Through the dust and heat, it emerges. A modern M1 Abrams main battle tank, its cannon glinting in the sun. The gods have just sent a weapon from the 21st century into one of history's most desperate battles. So what would happen if a single modern tank from the 21st century fought against 100,000 Greeks and Persians? Well, the Persian army is vast and diverse. Tens of thousands of infantry armed with spears, bows, and wicker shields. Elite immortals clad in scale armor. Cavalry and war chariots. And siege equipment dragged across mountains. Their strength lies in overwhelming numbers and ranged firepower. On the other hand, Greeks rely on discipline, training, and the terrain. The narrow pass means only a few Persians can attack at once, a perfect defense for the Spartan phalanx. Now add one M1 Abrams, a 120mm smoothbore cannon that can fire high explosive shells across miles, a .50 caliber heavy machine gun, and two 7.62mm machine guns for infantry suppression. Composite armor strong enough to resist most modern anti-tank weapons, let alone bronze spears. A 1,500 horsepower turbine engine capable of propelling 70 tons of steel across the battlefield at 40 miles per hour. The first wave of Persian infantry surges into the pass. Spears thrust, arrows rain down, the tank fires. The thunderclap of a 120mm round shakes the cliffs. Dozens of men vanish in a fireball, their bodies scattered across the battlefield. The Greek phalanx stares in disbelief as the iron beast roars forward, its machine guns spitting streams of fire. Entire companies of Persian archers are cut down before they can even release their arrows. To the Persians, this is not war. It is divine wrath. Fine. Confusion spreads. Some soldiers drop their weapons and flee. Others chant that the Greeks have summoned a god of war. Commanders whip their men forward, ordering new charges. Cavalry thunders down the narrow pass, horses armored in bronze. The tank rotates its turret. A single shell obliterates the charge. Horses and riders scatter in flaming ruin. Chariots rattle forward only to be shredded by the .50 caliber machine gun. Each new tactic meets the same end: destruction. But Xerxes does not give up easily. He orders his engineers to adapt. Catapults are rolled into position, hurling massive stones toward the beast. The boulders smash against its armor with deafening cracks, but fail to penetrate. Archers dip arrows in fire, loosing flaming volleys. The tank's composite plating shrugs off the flames. Infantry attempt to swarm it, climbing onto its hull with axes and spears. But the tank's hatches are sealed, its guns sweeping them off before they can do any damage. For every tactic, the Persians lose thousands. The tank continues its rampage. But the Abrams is not invincible. Its greatest enemy is not the Persian army. It is logistics. Each shell fired brings it closer to empty. Each burst of machine gun fire burns through ammunition that no one here can replace. And above all, its gas turbine engine devours fuel gallons every mile. In the modern world, the Abrams is supported by an entire supply chain: trucks of shells, fuel convoys, and mechanics. Here in 480 BC, it stands utterly alone. By the second day, the shells are nearly gone. By the third, the machine guns click empty. And as the sun rises on the fourth day, the great engine coughs, sputters, and falls silent. The monster is out of fuel. At first, the Persians are cautious. They pelt the silent tank with arrows and stones, expecting it to roar back to life. But nothing happens. Slowly, bravely, men creep forward. They climb onto the steel giant, hammering its armor with axes and torches. Finally, they pry open its hatches. Inside, they find a cockpit of incomprehensible controls. Screens, buttons, and switches beyond their imagination. The beast is dead, but its body remains. So, what happens if a modern tank rolls into the Battle of Thermopylae? It devastates the Persian army, killing thousands and holding the pass far longer than 300 men ever could. But in the end, it cannot escape the same truth as Leonidas himself. No machine, no matter how powerful, can fight without a supply. It wins a battle, it becomes a legend, but it cannot change the course of the war. And that raises another question. If one tank could rewrite Thermopylae, what would happen if an entire squadron of modern armor appeared at the Battle of Hastings? That is a story for another day.